This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, and it has an identity crisis. However, that's one of the reasons you should avoid this game. Developed by Red Fly Studio and published by Activision, Out of the Shadows is a 3D action-adventure beat-em-up for up to 4 players. In it, you take the role of one of the 4 turtles, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, or Donatello, and fight against the Foot Clan and other groups of enemies in an attempt to stop the evil Shredder's plans. The story feels like one you would expect from one of the many Turtles cartoons throughout the years, or one of the comics, which is a good thing. It tries to give off a darker tone than usually seen in Turtles media, but the goofy banter between the brothers helps keep things light-hearted and enjoyable, hitting a nice medium. The story is mainly told through cutscenes drawn to look like comic book panels, and for the most part they work. Although there are a number of times where the panels are nothing but headshots and exposition, which can make them feel a bit excessive. While the cutscenes are a nice touch, they highlight a major dividing point for those who play this game: the design of the turtles. Each brother's been redesigned in this game to give them a more distinct look from their previous incarnations. Donnie and Mikey are lankier and smaller than the others to highlight their focus on range and speed, while Raph looks like a bulky bruiser, and Leo looks the most physically balanced out of the 4. This is a cool idea, but it's a bit marred by the developer's idea to make the faces resemble actual turtle faces more than it has in the past. It creates an almost uncanny valley effect that can scare off people or at least make them feel uncomfortable. It also makes the turtle heads look really strange in some of the comic book scenes, making them look malformed and ruining the stylistic choice of the cutscenes. This only affects the turtles though, since everyone else looks like their counterpart from the 2012 cartoon on Nickelodeon. The only character who doesn't is April, who's back to being an adult instead of a 16-year-old teenager. In fact, the game borrows so heavily from the continuity of that series that newcomers or fans from the older series might not get the small nods to the show, such as Donnie having a crush on April, or the Krang being a race of aliens instead of one being, or the Utroms. There's still plenty of references that the fans of the older series will get, but this is where the game runs into a bit of an identity crisis. Since the game references the 2012 series, you'd think it was marketed towards a younger audience, but it's not, because A, there's a game based on that cartoon coming out in October, and B, Out of the Shadows is a teen-rated game, which prevents the main demographic of the show from actually playing the game. Well, from a marketing standpoint at least. So that means that the game is meant for fans of the older shows or comics, which seems strange since it's the fans of the new cartoon who will want to play the game the most. There are enough classic characters and enemies in the game that older fans will be fine, but they will get confused at times. Sadly, that audience will also be fairly frustrated since Out of the Shadows has some problems. Graphically, it looks okay, but it has some nasty texture popping issues, and most of the locations are boring since you're either on rooftops, in alleyways, or in sewers. The places that do look different or nicer have frame rate issues that make the game run fairly choppy, or worse, crash the game. While crashing the game is easily the worst glitch, it's not the only one. There are also glitches that teleport your character around the screen or make them run in midair for a while. The AI turtles will also get stuck in walls repeatedly, either trapping you in place or just looking goofy. Provided none of these glitches happen though, you'll still have to deal with the biggest frustration in this game, the combat system. Out of the Shadows puts you in control of one turtle at a time, but you can switch between all 4 at any time with the D-pad, and whoever you're not using will be AI controlled. All 4 turtles more or less play the same, with each turtle having a specialty such as attack speed for Michelangelo or strength for Raphael. Everyone has weapon and kick combos, projectiles, counterattacks, and special moves that can be used after building up a special meter or after reaching a certain combo count. The combat controls are remarkably similar to the Batman Arkham series of games, but it lacks 2 important components of those games: tight controls and a smart camera. The controls don't have the same fluidity that the Arkham games do, and while you're fighting enemies, you'll find yourself dropping your combo a lot due to your attacks or special moves not properly locking onto the characters, or just flat out not working. Considering that some moves are mapped to quarter circle, half circle, and full circle motions of the right thumbstick, you'll also find yourself not doing the right move at times, throwing off your flow, or just getting yourself beat up. The counter system is also incredibly strict at times, almost requiring you to press the counter button before the attack warning even comes on screen to do successfully. But thankfully there are skills you can unlock to fix that. If you're not fighting the controls though, you're probably fighting the camera. While in the Arkham games, the camera moves out to find the best location for a fight automatically, it doesn't change at all here. You have to manually move it into position and keep it moving during fights. It also has major issues with hallways or walls, and since most of the places you fight in are closed-in areas, you'll find yourself losing track of yourself or your enemies and getting blindsided a lot. It's really a shame that there are so many issues with the gameplay because there are moments of brilliance in this game. The game has an excellent high-energy soundtrack that keeps you pumped while fighting, and during the game the four turtles will banter with each other, cracking jokes and being fairly entertaining, although both the music and dialogue do start repeating fairly quickly. On top of that, when the gameplay and camera actually cooperate, the game feels awesome! You look just like a ninja, flipping around and doing crazy maneuvers while in a zen-like rhythmic state. It's an incredibly satisfying feeling that just has this major habit of going wrong when it really shouldn't, souring the entire experience. The game supports 2-player local co-op for story mode and 4-player multiplayer online. Considering the AI's habit of getting knocked out or ruining your combos, multiplayer is the best way to go, and it does add a lot of fun to the game, but you will end up cruising through this 5-hour game fairly quickly as a result. Also, as of this recording, there are major issues with the multiplayer on the Steam version of the game, so be warned if you do consider getting the game. Out of the Shadows is out now for Xbox 360 and Steam for $15, with a PS3 release coming at the end of the month. For those of you who have some patience and can put up with a stubborn camera, controls that don't always cooperate, and have a group of friends on standby with love for the Ninja Turtles, I'd recommend at least giving the game a try. However, for anyone else, the game will probably become too frustrating to properly enjoy. That's why you should avoid Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows.